When I met him, I had literally no concept of how it would then take over the last 6 years of my life. But I knew it was really amazing what he'd made. And I cried when I first saw the work because it was so moving, how just brilliant, incredible it was, and how overwhelming it was to have devoted so much time and energy to making something so complete. I'm Sasha Galitzine. I am a curator, and part of my practice is based around GERRY'S POMPEII, which is an Irishman's, the remainder of his life's work, which he built in and around a social housing flat. I was introduced to him by Rock. Rock said, I think you should come and meet my friend. I think you'd really like his artwork. And I didn't have any other expectations, and I went there and was completely overwhelmed because we went into his corridor and then all of the walls were covered with different coloured wallpapers, then amazing paintings, miniature figurines that he'd reappropriated from like Mozart, Charlie Chaplin, miniature palaces and stately homes and flats. So there was Buckingham Palace by his bed, Westminster Abbey over his sink. Hampton Court had just been moved from underneath the staircase to his living room. So there was no furniture at all except for a hospital bed and a chair and table in the kitchen, and everything else was devoted entirely to his artwork. And then when you came outside, there was another 200 statues. You then almost shrunk into one of the stately homes or palaces, because then suddenly the scale was much bigger and the sculptures came up to your knee, and there was all military heroes, members of the European royal family. His main period of interest was Napoleonic, I would say, but there's also Buddha there. There's also Queen Maeve, a 5th century Irish warrior. It's quite a mystery, which is interesting. No one really knows because no one ever saw him making anything. A lot of it is detective work. He seemed to have made everything at night, either behind the hedge that he planted all along the canal side, or inside his house with sort of no one watching. It's all quite mysterious. But everything was kind of made from found objects, reappropriated objects, wood, cardboard, tops of cans from drinks. It's a good metaphor of the post-war make, do and mend, where you didn't chuck anything out, you used everything that might be interesting or useful. And also I think it's an interesting comment on the history of the area, where you have the Golborne Road down there, which is known for antiques and collecting and secondhand. He had a very strong sense of what he wanted to achieve because the commitment was huge. He was working on it for 30 years. As soon as he retired as a factory worker and postal porter and a cafe worker. But what he has specified is that he did all the subjects were to do with history. They'd all done something for the country, ambiguous as to which country, different countries. And then he said they were brilliant in their ways, especially as far as the battlefield was concerned. Except for Oliver Cromwell, he was a bad one. He was a bad guy.